Morning, everybody. Happy Monday, the start of a new week, and we are a day away from another somewhat significant event on the Seahawks calendar. So, we've still got some stuff to talk about when it comes to what we saw against the Raiders on Saturday, but before we get into talking about that, I wanted to do this video today talking about the guys who are about to no longer be Seahawks, because tomorrow 5 players need to be released. Every team has to get down to an 85-man roster. Currently it's 90, so 5 players need to go. And I believe the roster that you see in front of you right now on the screen is accurate to the latest information that we have from the team. And as you can see, we have a total of 90 players represented. And I have my assumptions on who's going to actually make the team and who isn't. Doesn't particularly matter. The point is, if you take a look at this entire array of cells on this spreadsheet, you have 90 players. So, thought it would be kind of fun to explore for a few minutes the guys who may get released. So, I would have said that Sean Mannion would have been gone. I would have said that Sean Mannion would have been one of the 5 guys to go because we have 3 quarterbacks ahead of him. He's clearly number 4. Alex Magoo played pretty well, so I would have said Sean Mannion, but the problem is Geno Smith got a concussion, so we may want to keep him around just in case. As soon as Geno Smith checks out, in terms of his concussion, I think Mannion will go, but until that happens, I think Mannion's job is temporarily saved. I also thought about Lakiem Williams, the guy who we just picked up at linebacker, who actually played pretty well against the Raiders, I thought, but obviously there's no room on this roster for him or this practice squad, I think. But I think he's going to stick around just because we want some guys who can play linebacker for the next 2 games of the preseason in the 4th quarter. So both those guys should be on the chopping block, but the roster situation makes it that I think they'll stick around for at least a little bit. All right, so here are the guys who I think are actually going to end up on the chopping block. Guess number 1 would be Cam Scarlett. Lot of running backs on this team. Penny is probably going to get back this week. I think Travis Homer is going to get back this week. So there just isn't enough ball to go around, right? Now, obviously, Carson may or may not see the field in the preseason at all because we know what Carson can do, but he's securely at the top of the depth chart. Penny's working his way back. Homer's working his way back. Dallas looked pretty good. We still know what we have with Alex Collins to a certain extent. I think Scarlett's going to be on the outside looking in when the day is over tomorrow. That would be my guess number 1 on the cut. Okay, guess number 2. And this one's a little bit tougher just because of the situation we have at the position. I think Dominic Wood-Anderson played badly enough against the Raiders to lose his roster spot. The only reason why this is a question mark is Colby Parkinson broke his foot and Mabry also has a minor injury. So the only reason to keep Dominic Wood-Anderson would be if you really don't want Everett or Dissly to play. If you want Everett and Dissly to play at least a little in the preseason, you still have Sutton. You can give Luke Wilson a call, honestly, at this point, because Wood-Anderson, I know it's just the preseason, but you can't play any worse than that. You cannot play worse than Wood-Anderson played in the first preseason game. I think you have to lose your roster spot just on general principle. He might get bailed out by the fact that everyone in front of him is either not playing in the preseason because of, health concerns or just because they don't want to put themselves in the line of fire. But I think Wood-Anderson will probably go. So that would be cut number 2. Cut number 3, I'm going to say Williams, the receiver we signed a few days ago. I don't even know why we picked him up. I can't even remember his full name. He has one of those really long hyphenated names. Not worth remembering for me because he's not going to be here much longer. I think he'll probably be gone tomorrow. Eskridge is probably going to get back this week. And I know Metcalf and Lockett may not play very much, if at all, in the preseason, but we got Swain to look at. Penny Hart's going to find his way back. Cade Johnson made some plays. Fuller made a play. You still have Ursua, Cody Thompson. even if Metcalf and Lockett don't play, there isn't a whole heck of a lot of action left for receivers this far back. So I think you're going to see Williams go. Maybe Roberson as well, or maybe Roberson instead of Williams, but one of these two guys is probably out. And that would be my guess for release number 3. So that's 3 guys on offense. I feel like those guys are pretty conclusively not part of the team's plans going forward, so you don't lose very much by cutting them. There are some veterans ahead of those guys who may not play this this preseason, and maybe there's some injury concerns in front of them that could save them for a couple weeks, but I think they go tomorrow. All right, so now let's look at the defense to try to find 2 more cuts. I feel like we're going to let go of a defensive tackle. You've got Hewitt and Palmore. If I had to guess, I would say Palmore goes between these two, but it could be either one. I feel like it's going to be one of them, though. We're doing pretty well at the position because Kemdichi looks like he's solidified his roster spot for the time being, and Collier looks like he's solidifying himself as a permanent 3-tech on this team until injuries happen. So we have a lot going on at defensive tackle up top right now, and Monet and Collier are going to play at least a decent amount in the preseason because they're still young and they're still proving themselves. You've got Adams, you've got Lattimore. I don't think you need 2 defensive tackles on top of that. So I'm looking for Palmore or Hewitt to get cut. I would guess Palmore, but it's anybody's guess. So that takes you to cut number 4. So we need 1 more guy. Who's it going to be? I am going to go out on a limb here and say that Jamal Adams inks that contract this week. And I don't know if he's going to play in the preseason. Honestly, he probably shouldn't. Maybe a drive. Probably not even that. But I'm going to say that makes us feel a little more comfortable about kicking Moon to the curb. And when I say kick to the curb, it sounds like I have some distaste for him, some dislike for him. But no, I don't. But I do think that Moon will probably find himself on the outside looking in come tomorrow. He would be my guess. The out-of-nowhere UDFA free agent safety who looks like he's making a good impression on the team is Crosswell. He's done some impressive stuff so far. We seem to like Crosswell. I think he actually will stick around, and as of right now, I project him to make the practice squad. I think Moon is probably going to be the guy who gets shipped out to clear the way for Crosswell to get more playing time as the preseason goes on. So if Adams doesn't sign the extension, and maybe we're feeling a little cautious about wanting to move a safety out with the Adams situation still up in the air, it could be Jordan Miller or Will Sunderland, I guess. But Moon would be my guess. So that's 5. Scarlett, Williams, Wood Anderson, Palmore, and Moon. It could easily be a couple other guys as well. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. None of these guys are going to make the 53-man roster, barring, winning the lottery type luck on their part. So, nevertheless, those are my guesses for 5 guys who clearly have no future going forward and have very little value even in the preseason to this team. So, let me know who you think is going to be gone tomorrow, and we'll see who ends up coming out on top. Those are my guesses. Peace out, go Hawks. Going to do another video later today. Keep an eye out for it, but that'll do it.